Hey everybody, how you guys doing out there? So this will be my final YouTube video of 2019. So I'm going to start with a recap of this year, some things that happened this year, and then projecting forward to 2020. Um, so the first thing that happened this year of note, after breaking in the new year, was my birthday. So what I did this year was started off with having lunch with my parents up at Buffalo Wild Wings here in Belton. And then from there, I went directly to Royals Fan Fest. Had a good time. Even though I went by myself, it was still a lot of fun. And so at the main stage every year, they have these different contests you can participate in, where you win prizes. And so fortunately for me, I got to be a part of one, which was a lot of fun. Just out of the 5 contestants, I was the one who drew going first. And I didn't know that you could use the audience to help you win the prize or whatever. So unfortunately, I didn't come away with the prize, but it was still a lot of fun getting to participate in one of those contests. So, and then while I was there, I got to purchase a Hunter Dozier autograph bat. And I'm just putting this out there that this happened before the season because Hunter Dozier had a breakout year this year. So, not taking credit for it, but I'm just kind of putting that out there. I'm just having a little bit of fun. That was really fun. And then after that, I came home and had a birthday cake with my family, and that was pretty cool. A pretty good way to cap off the day. So then a few weeks later was World of Wheels, which comes to Kansas City every year, usually in February, and I love going every year for 2 reasons. One, I've always had a love for muscle cars, whether old school or new school. I've always had a love for exotic sports cars. In fact, my dream car is a Corvette, which hopefully someday it works out where I can get one, but we'll see what happens in the future. But the second reason I love going every year is usually on that Friday night, there's a WWE superstar that does a meet and greet. And this year, I had the pleasure of meeting Randy Orton, 13-time world champion, the Viper, the Apex Predator, the Legend Killer, but also a Missouri-born son. So it was really cool. I was getting to shake his hand and getting to meet him because he was on the top of my list, like right underneath John Cena. So now John Cena is the only person at the very, very top of my list of WWE superstars that I want to meet before they eventually walk away for good. So, but Randy was cool to meet and cool to talk to. So that was really awesome. Then of course seeing all of the exotic sports cars and everything, that was pretty fun too. And something that I love participating in, or I love attending every year, but it doesn't work out every year, is opening day for the Royals. Because no matter if your team is projected to contend for the World Series or finish with like a 100 loss record, just opening day is such a special day for baseball fans because it's the beginning of the marathon that is a 162 game regular season. And so you've got all this hope built up for your team that, after spring training, after putting together the roster, you're hopeful that your team is going to either shatter expectations or meet expectations if the expectations are to win the World Series. So, but I got to go this year, and even though it started off with a little bit of a rain delay, it was a good win. It was a close game, and Brad Keller pitched 7 innings of shutout baseball, so that was really cool to be a part of that. And even during the rain delay at the K, they were showing on one of the TV monitors by one of the concession stands on the top level the Brewers and Cardinals game, and that game ended when Lorenzo Cain made a home run robbing catch, and the crowd here at Kauffman went pretty berserk, because we still love Lorenzo Cain, even though he's not here anymore. We still love Lorenzo Cain, and the fact that he made an amazing catch to end the game on opening day for the Brewers to beat the Cardinals. That was pretty cool to see that. But yeah, eventually they did play the game after the rain delay, and the Royals got the win. So I was really happy to see that. I'm gonna kind of talk about my sister a little bit. The last few years, basically during her time in high school, she's had all these medical issues that she's been trying to battle through and try to figure out answers to what's going on. And in spite of all of that, she ended up graduating high school this year. And it was just really awesome to be a part of her weekend. Like she got to be a part of mine 7 years ago. And so getting to celebrate her getting through high school and still having a good GPA in spite of taking all these AP courses and college courses, she still had a really good GPA. And I'm just so proud of her for battling through the adversity to make it to this point, where she is now a college freshman who just completed her first semester. So, and it was really cool. So for the freshmen, they had a welcome weekend, which every college does every year, where you kind of make the freshmen feel welcome by doing all these activities and stuff on campus. Well, it was that Saturday. My sister texted me that morning. So every year, Rockhurst and UMKC play an exhibition soccer match before the regular season starts for their respective programs. And so she texted me that morning and goes, "Hey, do you want to go to the soccer match?" And so without much hesitation, I said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm down." So it was cool getting to spend that time with her, and I got to meet a few of her friends while I was there. So it was really cool to see her making friends so early on in the process. And even though Rockhurst, my alma mater, didn't get the win in the soccer match, it was still pretty fun to be a part of that. And so, and with my sister and I, our parents, in honor of us graduating from high school, they let us pick where we wanted to go on vacation, as a senior trip, if you will. So for my graduation, we went to Hawaii, and I picked it just like that. For my sister, she kind of changed her mind a few different times. Like, it was one thing here, and then it seemed like a few months later it would change to this. But she eventually settled on Boston and New York. And so that was really cool, getting to go back and do a few things in those areas that we didn't get to do last time. So our hotel was in Springfield, Massachusetts, and actually right down the street from the Basketball Hall of Fame. But before we get to that, on that Sunday, we flew out from KC early in the morning, so that later on that night, the four of us could go to a Red Sox-Yankees game at Fenway Park. That's how they say it up there in Boston, Fenway Park. And while I was there, I had a Fenway Frank. And while the Red Sox weren't victorious in that game, it was still just really cool to be able to check Fenway off the bucket list, and check a Red Sox-Yankees game off my bucket list at the same time. It was just really cool atmosphere to be a part of that, and to see that rivalry on Sunday Night Baseball, and to be there in attendance. It was really cool. And so it was that next day, my mom and my sister went to some sort of science museum. I forgot what the name of it is. But while they went and did that, my dad and I went to the Basketball Hall of Fame. All we had to do was just basically walk a few blocks and go under an overpass, which there was like one of the major interstates. We just had to basically walk under the interstate around the other side of the bridge, and the Hall of Fame was right there. So it was really cool. Just getting to do that with my dad and has some quality time with my dad. And I wore my Steve Nash jersey, and he was actually part of the most recent Hall of Fame induction class So not 2019, but 2018 is when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and that was really cool to see all the different exhibits, and I got to do a Sports Center a little segment or whatever. So that was pretty fun to do that. Um, and obviously getting to see all the little artifacts and stuff from the history of basketball. It was really cool to see all those things. And I had a lot of fun, and it was a really cool experience. So I'm just gonna list off real quick all of the different professional athletes that I got to meet this year. In addition to Randy Orton, I got to meet another WWE superstar, The Miz, on Memorial Day, the day that Monday Night Raw came to Kansas City. It was earlier that day when The Miz was at a Cricket Wireless store in Grandview. So I got to go meet him before that, before Raw later on that night. And then over the summer, I got to meet Clint Dempsey, who's a former professional soccer player. So that was really cool to go meet him out at Sprint store over in they're at the Sprint store over by Oak Park Mall. I got to meet Mike Sweeney at a Walmart not too far from the sports complex. That was really cool because some of you may not know this story, but when I was in youth group, there was one year we went to a game, or a Royals game, and before that game we were supposed to meet Mike Sweeney. Like we even had shirts that said Sween Team, and it had Sweeney and his jersey number on the back. But unfortunately, he was injured at the time, and he was on a rehab assignment with AAA Omaha at the time. So we didn't get the chance to meet him then. But just a few months ago, I got the chance to finally meet him to kind of make up for that. And it was really cool. Mike Sweeney is one of those guys that I wanted to meet for a long time, and just get to interact with him and tell him just how much I was a big fan of his when he played for us. It was really cool to meet him. And then at Nebraska Furniture Mart over the summer as well, I got to meet Whit Merrifield and Hunter Dozier. And it was actually funny. While I was standing in line, getting ready to meet them, I just happened to start chit-chatting with the guy in front of me in line, and I learned that he had just moved to the KC area from St. Joe because he'd just taken a new job, and he goes to Chiefs training camp every year. So we kind of got to know each other a little bit, and then the topic of Eric Berry came up in conversation, and that I really wanted to meet Eric Berry before he unfortunately got released by the Chiefs. And I got to share a little bit of my story about my tumor with the guy. And a few weeks later in the mail, I got an autographed Eric Berry card from the guy. So that was really cool. I didn't ask him to do that, and I didn't even expect him to do that, but the fact that he did meant a lot to me. So that was really cool. I still have the card sitting up here in my room on one of my ledges. So that was really cool. And then, of course, when I finally got to meet Whit and Dozier, it was Dozier on my left and Whit Merrifield on my right as you're facing the table. So I congratulated Dozier on the birth of his newborn child at the time. And then I got to tell Whit that my birthday is January 25th, and he goes, "Oh, really? Sweet." So that was pretty cool to be able to tell him that. And of course, I congratulated him on being selected to the All-Star game. And sure, even though Hunter Dozier had just had the baby, or his wife had just had the baby, and he was, I'm sure, wanting to spend time with the baby, I still feel like he got robbed of being at the All-Star games. I felt like he really earned it. And I'm not just saying that because he's a Royals player and the Royals are my favorite team. I really felt like he deserved to be on the team. So, but it was really cool to get to meet them. And then just a couple of months ago when NASCAR was at Kansas Speedway in October, I got to meet Eric Jones and Eric Almirola. So Eric Jones drives the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing at the Cup Series level, and Eric Almirola drives the 10 car for Stuart Haas Racing at the Cup level as well. It's really cool to get to meet them and kind of get to interact with them a little bit. And just a few days before that meet and greet, I went to Walmart and they had a diecast car commemorating Eric Jones' first career Cup Series win, which happened last July at Daytona International Speedway. And so they just so happened to have the car for sale up there. And it came with a little card that kind of documented that it was his first career Cup win and all that, and where it was and when it happened. And so I had him sign the card with the diecast car, and then they had like those cards that had their face and information and stuff like about them and whatever. So I had him sign that as well. And that was really cool to get to meet them as well. So this past July, this past summer, Dude Perfect did their first ever tour. They went to about 20 some odd different cities across the country, and Kansas City was one of them. So they had a show July 19th at Silverstein Eye Care Arena in Independence. And I got to go to that event with my buddy Corey Meyer. And it was really fun getting to be a part of that. And we got to witness a live battle, Cool Not Cool, and Tyler set a new Absurd Record, which is one of their segments on their YouTube series. And it was he set the record for number of lemons sliced in 30 seconds. Forgot what the exact number was, but I think it was like 57 or 58, somewhere in there. So that was really cool to be a part of that. It was just really fun to see it all go down. And of course, Cody Jones, the tall man, was wearing a Patrick Mahomes jersey, so definitely approved by Kansas City for sure. And the last notable event of 2019, at least before this holiday season, so Jorge Soler was in position near the end of the season to win the American League home run crown, because the only person that could have beat him was Mike Trout, but Mike Trout suffered a season-ending injury just weeks before the season ended. So Jorge Soler had an opportunity to take the lead and to win the American League home run titles. So it was the second to last game of the year, and I was recording every one of his at-bats just in case it happened, and it was his 46th home run of the year. That was the number that he needed to win the crown. And the fact that I got that on video, that was a really cool moment just for me as a person and as a fan of baseball. The first ever Royal to win the American League home run crown, and I got to get it on video. And then it was his next at-bat, he proceeded to hit another home run. So it was really cool to be a part of that. And then, of course, it was really awesome that the Royals sent Ned Yost out as a winner in his final game as Royals manager. So that was pretty cool, especially in walk-off fashion. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. So now that I've kind of recapped my 2019, it's time to project forward into next year, being 2020. So some things that I'm excited about. The Monday through Friday right before my birthday is the Chris Jericho cruise. And I'm really excited to go on that cruise. I've never been on a cruise before. And this will actually be my first vacation with just a friend or just friends, whatever. Basically without family being involved. And so they were very supportive of me wanting to do this. They never resisted the idea or whatever. They just kind of let me make a decision to go on this cruise. It's really cool. Paid in full. Everything is set up and ready to go. So I'm excited to be able to fly down to Miami, spend the night in Miami, and then spend a few days out at sea on the Ship of Jericho. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And it was just announced yesterday morning that All Elite Wrestling is coming to Kansas City on the last Wednesday in February, February 26th. And they will be at Silverstein Ice Center Arena in Independence. So tickets go on sale this Friday. And I'm really excited that they're finally coming. Like, I knew them coming to Kansas City was inevitable. But it's really cool that they finally announced that they're coming. And I definitely want to be a part of that. To be able to go to the show. So yeah, as of Friday, I should have some tickets in my possession. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm gonna go with a few friends and witness something besides WWE for once. I'm really excited to see what they bring to Kansas City in February. And then speaking of WWE, rumor has it, nothing's been announced yet, but rumor has it that sometime early on next year, NXT is going to start going from city to city for their weekly Wednesday show on television. So it'll be really interesting to see when that develops and when it becomes official that they're going to do that. Because normally they do their shows at Full Sail University in Florida. And they've done house shows across the country over the last few years. And I actually went to an NXT house show with a couple of my buddies just 2 years ago. And that was really fun. And with Silverstein, there's not a bad seat in the house. So to be a part of the first AEW show in Kansas City, I don't even care where we sit. You know, just to be able to say that I was there and got to be a part of that show as a fan, I'm all about that. I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm excited. So, and so, one thing I haven't done yet, I've been to a few Royals playoff games, and just this past season, or not this past season, last year, I got to go to a Sporting KC playoff match, but I've never been to a Chiefs playoff game. And while it's probably not going to happen for this season's playoffs that start here in a few weeks, maybe after the regular season next year, maybe it'll work out where I get to go to a Chiefs playoff game. We'll see what happens. I just want to, I've been to a few Chiefs games in my life, but never a playoff game, and so I really want to add that to my list of experiences. So looking forward to that whenever it happens, whether it's this year, next year, or sometime down the road. I'm excited for when that does happen. And so I haven't quite set my New Year's resolutions, at least like specific goals for next year yet. But what I can tell you is that whatever goals I end up setting for myself for next year are going to be driven towards me being a better Christian, walking better in my faith, a better son to my parents, a better brother to my sister, a better friend, and a better coworker, just an overall better person. At least that's what the idea is for whatever goals I end up setting. So I'm excited about next year. Just another year to experience some cool things, and I'm excited for what the future holds. So, as always, thank you guys for watching this video today, and thank you for your support, your enduring support throughout all of this. And until next year, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and God bless.